Welcome to the Imperfect Dads Podcast.
I'm Justin.
And I'm Devin.
We believe dads care deeply about their family and kids,
but they don't always have a space to discuss what their life looks like.
Our podcast is a space for dads to discuss the ups and downs of fatherhood.
And how they feel like they're holding it all together.
Or how they're not.
Thank you for joining us for this episode. Hey everyone, welcome to the first ever interview episode of the Imperfect Dads Podcast. For this episode, we have on musician Caleb Crosby. This episode is a lot of talking about the day-to-day life moments of fatherhood and laughing about them. Caleb and I talked about his son's love of Halloween, expecting their second son this year, being a touring musician and how he stays connected to his family, how he involves his son with daily errands, teaching your kids calming down techniques, and how as a dad you eat a lot of cold food. Make sure to catch Caleb this summer when he's on tour with Kelsea Ballerini, and we really hope you enjoy the episode. When I feel like, I don't know if you've had this yet, where like you describe what your experience at Belmont was like. I remember when I lived in Thrill Kill before I became an RA, there was one time we got around the no band practice type of stuff where everyone on the floor played Smoke on the Water at the exact same time. Like just open up their door. And like those were the type of pranks you did at Belmont. And like when I tell it to other people, they're like, that is the nerdiest sounding thing I've ever heard in my life.
See, I'm jealous that I wasn't a part of that because that sounds hilarious because that takes me back to like middle school pep band. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it's so funny because in rehearsals for this tour that I was doing the other day, one of the guitar players jokingly like hinted at it. And it took me straight back to sixth grade at a basketball game playing that song, you know? It's funny how that like four notes of a riff takes you back. You immediately know it. I'll tell you this because I remember this in Kennedy. That was so funny, and my buddies we still laugh about this. So Jake, who's a big mixer, Wolfpack and Corey Wong goes out and he does like stuff with all those dudes. And he made this like crazy track of like. It was supposed to be scary, right? Mm-hmm. And we had one of our roommates, Adam, got back late one night, and we had planned this whole thing of him like triggering. He had his subs, his whole like monitor rig set up, and he had a sub, and he like just basically dimed the thing. Yeah. And I remember him turning it on. It was a big like 808 sort of, and with like all these freaky ghost sound. I don't even remember all that was, but it was, maybe lasted 45 seconds, but it felt like it went on for an eternity. Yeah. And so he comes in the room and several of our other buddies came in there and threw like sheets over their heads. And like, we're just being stupid. Right. Well, we woke up, I remember this night cause we woke up the whole Kennedy dorm itself.
Are you serious?
We heard people above us moving around, and then we played it off like nothing ever happened, and no one. I think maybe someone came to our room. We were like, no, we didn't hear anything, and like people just kind of forgot about it. But it was so funny because we could hear through the vents people talking about, like, did you hear that? What was that? Did you hear that? What was that?
Yes.
And I wish honestly that I could hear that track back because it was so silly. Yep. And but that's like you said, that's what you do at Belmont.
It was. A random Kennedy memory is just for other super nerdy things at Belmont was there so many audio engineer majors and stuff. I remember having to tell students to not solder in their dorm room because people would have the soldering iron on their desk and there'd be burn marks all over the desk, and you have to be like, hey, this is a massive fire hazard.
Yes.
And this building will burn down in about 30 seconds if it catches fire. Like,
man, I didn't even think about that. That's so true though, man. Cause I didn't have pretty much everyone in that were my roommates were all music majors. Yeah. Right. Like, well, at least for the most part, not all of them, but a majority of them. But that makes so much sense. Yep. What did you major in?
I was music business with an emphasis in production. Okay. Yeah.
Gotcha. So where are you from?
I'm originally from Indiana.
Okay, cool. Yep. So not too far. I'm from Kentucky, so not
cool.
Far.
Where are you from in Kentucky?
Right outside of Lexington. Okay, so that's where my family is. A town called Winchester. Cool. My family's still there, and but I mean, dude, coming up on 18 years here in Nashville.
It's real trippy, isn't it? Yeah, it's
crazy, man.
Yeah, it's weird. That's like I tell people like I have 3 kids. I have an 8-year-old. Okay, my kids are about to turn 9 and 7, so I'm going to round up for them. So I have a basically 9-year-old, basically 7-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And like them going to kindergarten and stuff, sure, it makes you feel old, But what makes me feel older is like looking up and being like, oh, Weezer's Blue album, that's 30 years old now. And I'm like, no, that can't be 30 years old. It's like, it's funny that like milestones of like, this was my youth. That's whenever I'm like, no, stop it. But like kids getting older, I'm like, yeah, it's supposed to happen. But like those albums aren't supposed to be 25 or 30 years old. That's not supposed to happen.
Isn't that so crazy? And too, like, you know, what our childhood was like now these people don't like, they're like, I've never heard of it. Like, what do you mean?
Yep.
You know, it's like, wait, we're that dated from that thing that feels still so close to us.
Yep.
Isn't that wild?
It is. I had a friend reference Ren and Stimpy the other day. And actually, this is even better to describe Belmont. So on my floor, we had a movie theme in Kennedy. And I did 90s comedies. So I had like Tommy Boy, all the Adam Sandler movies and stuff like that.
Nice.
And everyone on my floor wasn't allowed to watch those movies. So no one knew what any of the references were.
Oh my gosh. Well, that makes sense, right? Because I mean, it kind of does. Like, oh, I've never seen that movie. Like, oh, dude, that's so funny.
Like, Tommy Boy isn't that offensive. It's not that grotesque. It's really dumb. It's extremely like Happy Gilmore is super dumb. And you grew up in a very conservative household. That's all I just learned. Got it.
Because and that's a lot of those, you know, kids, man. You know, it's like I remember being young and going to someone's house and they were watching Scream.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know I'm not supposed to watch this movie, but I'm gonna watch this movie.
Pretty much. Yep. I think I'll be intrigued to see if our kids have those stories. Because we all have those stories of like, I was a sleepover and then someone's older sibling had a copy of Friday the 13th, 12 or whatever it is. And then we watched it and no one slept for the next week.
Of course. And then you pay for it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, there's a reason I was not supposed to see this.
Pretty much.
It's going to ruin my, near future here.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's funny, man. My son, to relate that to my kid, he is obsessed with Halloween.
Oh, really?
Like it's so funny, man, because like me growing up, like you do Halloween as a kid, but like, I was never crazy. I mean, it was fun, but I was never like something I looked forward to. Right. And so my boy loves it. And so our neighborhood, loves Halloween as well.
Cool.
And they decorate and it's the whole thing. And it's really special. And so, man, our like nightly rituals really some people here in our neighborhoods decorate early.
Okay.
Right. And so they're up for a while. And so it's like, nightly walks. We go and check out the skeletons. And so it's funny. He's so drawn to it for whatever reason. But there has been times recently where he's like, I'm scared. And it's like, so you find that balance of like, okay, cool. You can like something and enjoy something, but also like we have to find these boundaries where, we're not trying to scare you. This stuff isn't real.
Yeah.
And trying to like teach him that like, hey, dude, skeletons, this isn't real. It's not going to like wake up and live in your closet.
Yes. How old is your son?
So my son turned 3 in August of last year. So yeah,
oh, cool.
I mean, like almost 3.5.
Nice.
I guess we're getting.
Yeah, my son he's September 2nd of 2021.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh dude, they're like 2 weeks apart.
Oh really? Cool.
August 15th is his birthday.
He actually, my son was supposed to be an August birth. He was supposed to be like August 22nd. He was 10 days late.
Dude, you know what's so crazy?
What's that?
Our original due date was August 22nd. Dude, that's wild.
That's trippy.
And Cruz came a week early.
Okay. Yeah.
It may have been 21st. It was
whatever. Yeah.
Literally that it's all the same.
Still,
but literally
what are the odds?
Came a week early.
Yeah.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
So I will tell you this too. We are expecting our second.
Nice, congrats.
And dude, hilariously enough, we found out today that it's a boy.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and like we've told close friends. I mean, like we haven't, but yeah, I mean, I'll tell you. But yeah, this is a dad podcast. We have to talk about these things.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be welcoming our second boy. Late summer.
Cool. Nice.
So yeah, man.
How are you feeling?
I feel amazing. It's funny because I think, we were, for whatever reason, convinced that it was going to be a girl, and clearly we're very surprised and also equally as ecstatic. for the boy. And I know that my son is very excited to have a brother. I think it's really going to be the best for him and just be so awesome because, I had 2 younger sisters, so I never had a brother.
Yeah.
So I think that's just like what I know. So maybe even like psychologically, I'm like, oh yeah, a girl comes next, right?
Yeah.
So I know he's just super jazzed. He's been saying all along when he knew that, there was a baby in mommy's belly that, that's my brother.
That's cute.
That's my brother.
That's cute.
So it's been pretty cool.
We went girl, boy. And yeah, whenever for the 3rd kid, we found out it was a boy. We were like, wait, we can make boys? Like
you're like, wait, that's a thing?
I didn't know that was possible. So
that's so funny, man.
Yeah.
So my wife is from Orange County area,
okay.
and some of her older brother's friends, they had let's see, let me get the number right. 4 girls.
Ooh, okay.
I think.
Yeah.
And she got pregnant with their 5th, and obviously daddy's hoping for a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what?
It was a girl?
It was another girl.
They're starting their rival Five Daughters Bakery.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, exactly. It's like, there you go, man. It's like, and they probably had the very similar thing. It's like, this is just what we make.
Pretty much.
We make young gals.
And it's a weird thing because like whenever you find out the gender and stuff, you do have some like hope of like what gender it'll be. Like whenever we had our first kid, I wanted it to be a girl. Like I wanted to be a girl dad first. And like, if it would have been a boy, all would have been fine and stuff. But it's weird, like to have the anticipation of like, I hope it's this. And then it's not. And you're like, sure. I'm still super happy. But also that was a weird whiplash of emotions.
Totally. It's so funny because I think we've gone through so much with, when we did the gender reveal for Cruz, our first, and I thought it was going to be a girl. Mm-hmm. My wife pretty much knew it was going to be a boy, but we had convinced each other of the opposite by the time we found out. Right. Yeah. So we were like, we were both surprised because I was like, no, you're wrong. It's a girl, you know, that sort of thing. And she's like, no, I know. And they always do.
Yeah.
But that's why this one was so funny because I think we just maybe in our minds, it's been kind of a different journey for her early on, just with sickness and nausea and stuff like that. And so we just were convinced it was a girl. Yep. And so I kind of, as we did a little reveal just with our son and us, and it was great, and took a video and sent it to family, and it was awesome. And but yeah, dude, we were both just like, wait, what?
Yeah. And then I feel like people ask you like, are you like happy? Are you like, how do you feel about that you're having another boy? And you're like, I mean, I just want the kid to be healthy. I hate that I'm now saying that. I just want the baby to be healthy. I'm now becoming that guy.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, if my wife and the kid can both survive birth, that's great. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. And either way, you're stoked and ecstatic because it's the best gift ever. And yeah, man. So we're thrilled.
That's sweet. Does that mean that you said your son's name is Cruz, right?
Uh-huh.
So Cruz will be like almost 4 whenever your second son is born?
That's right.
Nice.
Almost 4.
That means he'll be out of diapers. Like he'll actually have some independence and stuff. Well done.
My man. And I gotta say, it was planned that way. We wanted that.
Cool.
And we wanted that sort of space. We wanted that age gap. We have some friends, and we asked a bunch of people like, what are your thoughts? And there's 2 years difference between me and my sister.
Yeah.
And so, and I think 2 for us, just where we were at. I mean, everybody has their own journey, and it's all, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Right.
Nope.
Just for us, it made the most sense. And it worked out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So
our first 2 kids are 23 months apart. So they are like just right at like 2 years or so.
Yeah.
And that first like year or so was like, oh God, what have we done? And but now that they're like almost 9 and 7, I was like, oh, this is great. This is perfect. But like, the first 2 to 3 years, you are kind of like, we thought this was a good idea.
Totally. But that's a good point though, because when they do get older, especially at the years where they are now, the age that they are now, there's a special bond that you have when you are that close in age.
Yep.
You have a lot more in common, that sort of thing. There's a 7-year age gap between me and my youngest sister.
Yeah.
And, I was out of the house before she was in high school. And you know what I mean? There's just like a lot of differences.
Yeah. I have an older sister and then an older brother. So it goes brother, sister, then me. And my brother is 6 years older than me. So like, yeah, by the time he went to college, I would have been like 2000. So I would have been in sixth grade. Like what identity do you have formed by sixth or seventh grade? Not a lot. Man. Not a lot. You have habits. I don't know if you have identity, you have habits. So yeah, it's very different.
Yeah, man. I love that. So what are your kids' names?
Yeah. So it is Holly, Magnolia, and Josh.
Oh man, love that.
So they're all trees. It was really funny because like that was the other thing. Whenever we thought we were gonna, when we were pregnant, we assumed it would be a girl. So we were coming with all these other girl plant names like marigold and stuff like that. And then we found out it was a boy, and it was like, what boy plant names are there? We have to stick with the theme.
Yeah.
So it was like people would be like, what about Forrest? And I'm like, I'm a 6'4" scrawny dude, and my kid will probably look like me. I'm not naming a kid who I know will be scrawny and awkward Forrest, even if no one their ages will know what Forrest Gump is. I just can't do it. So it was like Joshua or Oakley, like something like that, or Sage.
Oak was the first thing I thought. Oh, Sage is cool too.
Yeah.
Oak is the first thing that I thought too. Oakley is kind of cool.
Yeah.
That man, what a great little theme you guys have, man. That's amazing. No, for real. Like that's like very clever and awesome.
Yeah. I know you're a touring musician, touring drummer and everything.
Yes. Yes.
If your son's going to be born during the summer, do you guys already have like a plan for like, cause touring during the summer is like, I feel like when you're on the road the most. Have you guys discussed like what plan you'll have for being around for the birth and all that?
Yes, roughly. And it's essentially like, taking that time, you take aside like a month, really like several weeks before and several weeks after.
Yeah.
And, you kind of take every day with, see what comes. But, I've essentially blocked off that time.
Cool.
And anything that has come in for me or, the groups that the band that I play with too, we've just said no and that sort of thing. But, with other opportunities like for hired stuff, you kind of see what happens and see what things look like. And, obviously there would never be a situation where I wouldn't be around for
Of course.
You know
yes.
what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So you sometimes can get creative if, but again, I want to be around. And that was something with Cruz, the first tour I did after he was born, he was 8 weeks old and it was a 3-week long tour. And dude, it was one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're so in the thick of it, being a new parent and not sleeping and also doing all these crazy things that you never thought you could do on no sleep.
Yep.
Because that's, what's what we're made to do.
Yeah.
And you figure it out and you adjust and it is, like I said, it's the greatest gift. And it was tough, man. It was tough doing that tour. I obviously love playing music and always will. But it just was tough. It was just different. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was different. And then I remember, and granted, he didn't know that I was gone, but I remember the first tour that I did where he cried at the door when I left, like what, and it's crazy. You have these different stages that are hard, it's tough and they're harder for different reasons.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Because I always describe it as like when you have a kid, like your identity to some extent kind of just gets shattered. Like you have to you basically like relearn yourself, relearn your partner, relearn everything. And then at 8 weeks, whenever your baby is still very little, to be like, all right, cool, I'll be back in 3 weeks. And like at that age also, your kid changes drastically in those 3 weeks.
Yeah, man.
So I would imagine that you probably felt like I would find it hard not to think that you felt like you were missing out.
Of course. Yeah. And you could probably, especially like in those first few years, like you spend even like I spend a weekend away from home and I'm like, wait, you're saying that now?
Yeah.
It's like there's just so much that changes and they're sponges, right?
Yeah.
So they're soaking everything in. And then, even, I picked my son up they came to visit for these rehearsals that I was just doing in Clarksville. And I was like, wait, and I didn't see him for 2 days. I was like, did you grow? Like you weighed 10 more pounds? Like what is happening?
Yeah.
It's just like, they're just the way they progress and changes. It happens quickly.
Yep.
At these ages, and again, at certain ages in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard, doing this business and traveling and like, honestly, in his 3+ years of life, I haven't done as much traveling as I did before he was born.
Yeah.
I've pulled back a good bit on just the amount of traveling, or let's say the concentrated time of traveling. I did a lot of stuff in Europe for 2 months at a time and that
cool.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
And haven't done any of that, but I'm coming up on doing a tour that's going to be my longest yet since he's been born. And so it's tough, but it is what we do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And they'll come and visit and travel. And he's amazing. He's a rock star on a plane, so he's great. Cool. And so he loves to travel. He gets that honest. And my wife was in the music business too, and that's how we met. And she's in real estate now. But it's like he gets the travel thing honest. He loves it. He loves to be in new places and loves hotels, and you know what I mean. He just loves to do it.
That's cool. That's really lucky that he does.
Of course, absolutely. And it's cool that you get to share these experiences in different places and, and teach them things. And it's awesome.
Yeah. Do you mostly do, touring stuff, or do you do any studio work as well?
I do a lot of studio work, and honestly, that's over the last couple of years since he's been born. That's what I've started to lean into more.
Good.
And Tyler Bryant and I, Tyler and I have been playing music together for 15 years, and him and I and Graham, one of our other bandmates, have started a label, and so we're kind of like Tyler's producing a lot, and we're working on records together. I'm playing on all these projects, and so there's been a lot of that's kind of like been a shift of focus to certain different things. You know what I mean? That's all in town, and we can have families and be married, and you know what I mean? Don't not feel the need to be out on the road all the time. You know that.
How do you feel like you balance dad life? Do you feel like you're able to be there for your son or be around and make the big moments whenever you're on tour?
100%, man.
Good. I'm glad.
And it's why, the time at home matters so much, and I'm always really, when I'm home, I'm home.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I cherish those moments with him, and we do a lot of stuff, just the two of us. And he runs the errands with me, and
that's cool.
Goes around and comes to the studio with me and does the thing. And he loves it. He loves it all. It's like our thing. And so, he loves to walk down and go to the coffee shop or go to the bank or whatever. You know what I mean? Like he's just a great little errand buddy. And man, I'm really adamant about making sure that I'm there for him and all the moments.
Yeah. Do you have any? I also run errands with my kids, and I try not to give them any screens whenever we do it either. I'm just like, hey, we're here. Let's talk while we're here the entire time. Do you have any tips or tricks for how to like keep your son? Because some people's kids lose it whenever they make them run errands with them. How do you keep your kid like good vibes? Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we travel in the car, my boy loves listening to music. All right. And it can kind of like be all over the place, but and normally with him, like he likes to take a toy. Yeah. Like maybe like, on our drive today, he carried Buzz Lightyear with him. Cool. Just like a little Buzz Lightyear that he can have and he can kind of play with, and it's like his like little buddy, right? Yeah. And sometimes that's a thing. I have realized that lately, like if we go to the store, he just wants to help. Like a lot of times, like he would ride in the cart. Now he wants to walk around. Now the store takes twice as long. Oh yeah, but he wants to help, and it's like, no. And so I show him what to get, assuming he can reach it. A lot of times he can't, and I just grab it and hand it to him, and he wants to put it in the cart, which is also hard. He ends up just throwing it in there, so you can't, it's not like you can give him like eggs or anything. No, you know what I mean? Not so much. But, he's very adamant. So it's like, okay, well, you can put it in. So like I hold it and we gently put it in, so, man, I feel like it's so funny because every stage, is a lot easier when they're younger. They don't move around as much. And now he's walking around, and so it's just all different. I don't know that I necessarily have tips and tricks. I just think, like I said, it's just like whatever works for you. And I think you lean into what makes it a good experience for them. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. But he latches on to certain things. Like today I took him to the bank and he I was like, I told my wife, I got to go to the bank. And he was like, I want to go to the bank. It's like that sort of thing. And I was like, all right, I'll take you to the bank.
Cool.
And then, like I got distracted and we were doing something else. And he's like, I want to go to the bank, and it's like, oh, you're right. Let's go.
That's awesome. My 3-year-old today, we went grocery shopping and like got waffles or something like that. And he made a pile of the waffles. He was like, these are my waffles. And then I went to check out and he was like, no, these are my waffles.
That's it, man.
Yeah. But like at the same
that's the line, is it not?
Yep.
These are mine.
These are mine. You can't have them. Yeah. I'm like, well, actually, if you want them to be yours, I just have to. Do you want to help me scan? Like, I think our kids are always communicating to us. It's just, am I able to actually listen to what they're saying? Because I do the same. Like, I go to the grocery store. My son wants to bury himself underneath waffles and lay in a shopping cart. He's actually having a lot of fun and he's not hurting anything.
Sure.
But I can easily be too focused on being like, I thought it was going to be a 5-minute trip. I thought I was just coming in here to get some frozen waffles and leave. Now we're here for 30 minutes. Like, or just acknowledge your son's ridiculous and cute and whatever else you have to do, hopefully isn't that important and you'll be okay.
100%. And I think that's what makes those like, mundane moments for us so special, right? Because it's like these things that, we can do and check out of, you know what I mean? Yeah. And now they're this experience, not only for them, but for us, because it makes it so much more fun and so much more unique and different. And so man, it's always, my boy's the same way. It's like, no, this is mine. No, that's my spot. No, wait, I was sitting there, and then you lean into it. No, that's my spot. And he'll look at you. No, that's my spot.
It's all the game. And like, kids want to be playful. They want to have games played with them. And like, it's fun. And there are always some moments which like, all right, like, I feel like for my 7-year-old, I have to be like, hey, actually, this is the time not to tell jokes. We have to be serious in this moment.
Yeah, man.
Every other moment is fine. But like, I've walked in your room 3 times and told you to please be quiet so you can fall asleep because you have school tomorrow. Like, I'm losing my ability to say this politely. Please stop.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. That's so funny because I think I've used the line like, I'm at the end here, man. like I can't do this anymore.
Have you?
My son, I was one more please, on this. Yeah. There's my boy lately has been doing this thing where he'll ask you something, and sorry, my AirPods are falling out.
You're good.
He'll ask you something and say, he'll ask you whatever question, like, "What did you say?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say it to him, and he'll go, "What?" And I'll say it again, and he'll go, "What?"
It's the worst.
And I'll say it again. I mean, dude, it's almost like a never ending thing, right? It's like this, like the hamster wheel.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. And so finally I'm like, dude, you heard me. I've said it to you like 7 times.
You know what I said. You just know you'll get a reaction every time this moment happens. So right. I know I look at my kids a lot and say like, I no longer like this game. Can we please play a different game?
Yes. Right. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying this anymore, bud. Like, here, let me record it for you, and you can just press this button.
That's right. I was going to ask you, have you had any moments yet where you say something, and then you're like, oh, I've become my parents, my mom's? Like, have you had any moments like that where like, oh, this is my dad, this is my mom, this is why they said this to me so much as a kid?
I don't know that any that have like glaringly stuck out, but I do think that I have some tendencies of like, to be honest, I want to be a little more like my dad, because my dad was always so chill.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think my mom was just like more uptight. Mm-hmm. And I think I tend to actually be like, patience is tough, right, as a parent. And so I always catch myself when I don't know.
Yeah.
Feel like I'm out going crazy or getting out of control, to kind of pull myself back down, right? To get some air, just to figure out a way to calm down, where it's just like, hey, take a breath, like I always work with my son. Hey, we're working on potty training too. He's a little late, but we're working on it. Hey, take some breaths, dude. Just take some breaths. It's like it's like that thing. And so I think I relate it back to my parents. So much where I'm like, okay, I got to be better, or I got to kind of pull myself in.
Yep. My middle child, whenever she gets worked up, we used to do that. We'd be like, hey, just take a deep breath. And she would say, I don't know how. And it was one of those moments of like, you breathe in through your nose. I don't know how. And I'm like, I don't know how, like, it's one of those moments as a parent where like, I don't know how else to describe this. You just breathe in through your nose. I don't know how. What other way? I don't know how. I'm usually pretty good with words. I have no idea how else to describe this.
It's so funny. We did the same thing with telling my son how to blow his nose, like into a Kleenex.
It's so annoying.
And it's like, it's like, I don't know how to do it. And he's just like, he like threw it in his mouth. It's like, no.
Up here,
dude,
up here.
Your nose right here.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a little bit of both where it's like, and he's gotten better now, but especially early on where you're kind of just like, you just accept it and it's like, it is what it is. Cause he would go through these phases where it's like, he would kind of whine or maybe come in our room late or something and be like, I got a stuffy nose. And it's like, all right, we need to blow your nose. And it's like, oh, I can't get it out.
Yeah.
And as our babies, you have the little suckers or
Frida
whatever. People
stuff,
have different, people have their different vices. But yeah, he's a pro at it now. But it was funny early on to get him to teach us like how do you blow?
I don't know how.
Do you teach someone to blow your nose.
Know.
Yeah.
It's one of those weird moments of being a parent where you're teaching what to you is a basic human life function to someone who doesn't grasp it, and you're like, no, you just close your mouth and go, and they're like, huh. And you're like, no, the other holes in your body, like you up here, not down, up here. I'm going to hold your mouth
just shut. A little bit. Yeah.
And then you're holding your 2-year-old's mouth closed like this. And you're like, now just breathe. And they're like, I can't breathe. You're holding my mouth closed. And you're like, no, it's because I don't know how to do this. How do I teach this?
Yeah. And then you kind of just hold it there. And then you realize they just spit in your hand or whatever. Right?
Basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go.
That's it. I just blew my nose just to prove that I knew how to do it.
Yeah, just to make sure. And also it was like that thing where we're talking about it and you're like, actually, you know what? I need to do that.
Yes. That's one of the weirdest things of like being a parent to me is you are teaching like basic human, like, why do I have to chew so much? Oh, you have to chew so much so you don't choke on it and die. And they're like, what does that mean? And I'm like, it means I should just cut the scrape up smaller so I didn't have to have this conversation about mortality. That's what this means.
Yeah. No kidding. Right. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. Yeah, my boy loves steak, and so I'm figuring out how big I can cut it now. As he's eating better and like chewing well, and this boy can house some meat.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. Bacon, and he at breakfast today he ate all my bacon off my plate. It's like. And also too at this age when they're toddlers, they pick and choose their moments when they eat. Because there's some days, and it's so tough. It's like, hey man, this is what we're eating.
Yep.
He's like, I don't want that. I want something else. Yep. And so right now we're kind of like, okay, when he's eating, we're go for it. Yep. Like if you're gonna rock all that you want to eat my plate right now, go for it. You know. So, but yeah, man, it's it, man. Every day is a new journey. Yeah. And you're navigating and it's awesome and difficult all at the same time.
Pretty much. Yep. Nope. Yeah. You have these moments where so I feel like whenever you have multiple kids and they're all trying to sit down at the table and eat, it can be one of the most frustrating experiences ever. Cause like one kid will finish and then they'll want to go play. But the second they leave the table to go play, the other kid will be like, but I want to go play. And you're like, no, you can't do that. Then you're also trying to be nice about it as you're looking at a kid and being like, you have to sit down because of this. And like, you're trying to explain like consequences to like a freaking 4-year-old. And they're like, I don't know what this means.
And then you make it through dinner. And I'm saying this as if I have multiple kids, which I don't, but soon.
Not yet.
But you make it through dinner and then you look down, you're like, I haven't even taken a bite. What's happened here? Your food's all cold. Yeah. Just tragic.
We went to Chick-fil-A the other night. And all 3 of the kids were like playing in the play area and our food got there. And I was like, I'm just not going to tell them their food is here yet. And I'm going to see how much of my own sandwich I can eat before they'll get hungry.
There you go. I'm going to house my meal before they come and eat theirs or eat my, dude.
Correct.
Smart.
And immediately whenever they came out of the play place, one of them took my spot. One of them needed ketchup. The other one needed a drink refill because I somehow drank their milk in like 3 seconds. I'm just like, I'm glad I ate this sandwich before this moment happened.
You're smart, dude. You've been through it, man. You know what to do.
That's right.
You're weathered. You've weathered the storm.
A little bit. Yep.
Man.
It's just survival instincts. That's all it is.
That's right. That's right, man. You're like, I got this done so that I can, tend to everyone else.
Yeah. It's the it's the oxygen mask in the airplane, right?
100%, dude. That's a great metaphor.
That's right.
That's perfect.
Yes.
That's perfect. Yep.
How we end every episode is we ask every guest the same 5 questions. You'll have time to think about it. It's not like rapid fire or anything.
Okay, cool.
But the first question is, did you have any backup names for your son? Like, did you have any names that you almost named him?
Oh, gosh. Honestly, I can answer this quickly. The answer is no.
Okay.
And yeah, truly. We knew early on. We landed on cruise and we loved it. And he was so busy in the boat.
That's
right?
cool.
And so we would always say, he's just cruising. He's just cruising.
That's sweet.
And then, we would always play the Smokey Robinson cruise song, cruising. And some people would say, oh, was it the FGL song called Cruise?
Belmont. That's a deep cut Belmont reference, by the way.
Yeah, dude. I remember. Yeah, dude. I think I played like Cajon for Brian Kelly at one point. And got several friends that are out playing with Tyler Hubbard right now.
Cool. Yeah.
So, nice guys. And anyways, dude, it was very obvious to us, and that it was meant to be, because it was him. He's a busy boy. Yeah. And the name, it fits him.
That's cool.
And we like the alliteration. My name is Caleb Crosby, right, with the 2 C's, and we wanted that for him too. Cool. So, man, we were locked in on it, and we kind of went. We were like, are we set on it? Mm-hmm. And then as her belly grew and he formed more and started to be busy, it was just like, I think we're so infatuated. We love the name. Yeah, man.
That's cool. That's a fun story.
It's a great question, by the way.
Thank you. Next question. Favorite TV dad?
I do have to be honest. I'm kind of bad with movies.
Okay.
And I don't watch a ton of movies, and I don't really. I watch sports. Honestly, is my thing. If I would say, let me think on this one. Ask me another one.
I'll give you a backup question. So
okay,
here's your backup question. Do you have a favorite or go-to replacement curse word? Because every dad has a replacement curse word. My dad's was peanut, where like someone would cut him off in traffic and be like, oh, that peanut. And I'd be like, what does that mean? And I'm like, oh, it means my dad's really pissed off. That's what that means.
That's hilarious. My wife and I have been really good about just being cognizant of that. And I think normally we've gotten to a point where there's times clearly that you just do it, and it is what it is. I was telling her, I'll answer this question in a second. I was telling my wife a story, because this is funny. I was telling her about being at Kohl's, and I was by myself, and I was getting something for Christmas or something for my son. I think he needed a switch. I can't remember. And I heard this mom, I said to my wife, I was like, she was so pissed at her kid. She was yelling at him in front of the whole place. Yeah,
that sucks.
And I said she was so pissed. And my son waltzed in the room and goes, she was so pissed. And again, not like a terrible word, right? But you just realize, like, you could say anything and they say it right back.
Yep.
And my wife was cracking up because she just couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't have like particular words that I replace. I just will hyphenate or abbreviate. Like, if it's it's dumb, but like F or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just don't say anything. I feel like now I need something a little more creative, you know?
I mean, just think about it. Ask your other dad friends what it is, and then you can, get a mishmash of them together and stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Peanut's kind of funny too.
Peanut's pretty funny because it never makes sense. Like you're just like, that peanut, and you're like, that's not a peanut, that's a person.
Yeah, right. What peanut are you talking about?
What peanut are you talking about? So that's funny. I love whenever my son has started doing where he'll say random movie quotes and I have to figure out what it's from. Like we let him watch like the Super Mario Brothers movie the other day. And apparently there's a moment where like one of the characters goes, "You're doing great," and does like a thumbs up. So he just started walking around the house going like, "You're doing great." And I was like, where did this come from? And that's the joy of having older siblings. I'm like, "Hey, Holly, what is he talking about?" He's like, "Oh, it's in Super Mario Brothers when Bowser tries to propose to Peach and doesn't work out well." And I'm like, sure, of course.
You go. It's funny, man, because they're like there to either say that they did well or to rat them out, right?
Exactly.
So like, and then you get the full story from the older kids. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
It's so funny. My son too has done like lately. He's been doing like he'll say, "Can I have a something?" Or like let's say, "Can I have a treat?" And he'll go like thumbs up or thumbs down. like what are you gonna say here?
You're a Roman emperor.
Yeah. It's like, what do you think? Yeah. This is pretty funny. It's like, no, dude, like that's not going to happen right now.
Down.
You gotta
it's a down thumb.
Yeah. It's a down, and two, he'll do it when he's trying something, like if he's trying to, and it's like, it's like, or it's not yummy. It's nummy. It's
nummy?
with an N. Nummy. Yeah. Nummy.
Way to understand negative connotation, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Next question. I know you just said you don't watch a lot of TV and stuff, but do you have a least favorite kids show or anything where like when your son goes to watch it, you're almost like, "Oh my God, this is the worst show I've ever seen in my life"?
Yeah. There's a few that like I can't get behind the Coco Melon.
Yep.
Yeah, and so we don't really allow that. And that's one. Peppa Pig has always thrown me too.
Yep.
He just recently started watching Trash Truck.
Yeah, my son loves Trash Truck.
Which is on Netflix, and it's actually pretty great.
Yeah, it's super calm.
Yes, and I had a good friend that is also a boy dad tell me, "Hey, dude, it's like kind of like a Bluey. It's like good. It's educational. It's like it's calm. That's a good way to put it." But yeah, there's a couple of those that are just like pretty. There's definitely been some things that we've tried. Mm-hmm. There's so many out there, right?
Yeah.
That are just like that you're like, "Oh, let's just see." But as parents, like we've kind of flop through too, just to see what is there's because there's so much out there.
Yep.
But those would be the two that I think Coco Melon, for whatever reason, somebody gave him a book that makes noise too. And he, for whatever reason, he doesn't watch the show, but he likes that book. He likes the book. And he'll hit the buttons where it like does and it drives me insane. And I can't get rid of it because he likes it. And it's like, it's innocent. It's like just a regular book, and like they're just like whatever what noises they make.
Yes,
but yeah, it drives me nuts.
Yeah,
But.
No, Coco Melon. It's the most common answer is we get is people being like, just something about Coco Melon feels off. Coco Melon, because it's like so like ADD, like it never stays in the same segment for more than like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like it's so like it feels like as if you're handing your kid like a plate of like sugar, and you're like, this will be fine. This will turn out well. And you're like,
they'll figure this out.
They'll figure this out. And it's like, I feel like I'm damaging your neural pathways when I let you watch this show.
Yes. 100%, man.
Next question. Do you have a favorite kid's toy or activity? Like whenever Cruz plays with it or you do it with him, it's like one of your favorite things to do with him?
100,000% Legos.
Legos, yeah.
It's like, it's crazy because my stepmom got me one of the VW buses. Like this was like when my wife and I got married, long before Cruz came, and it was like a Christmas gift randomly. I was never really into Legos as a kid. Yeah. And I remember getting it and going, "Oh, this is kind of a random gift. This is cool." Yeah. I went home and I remember like in the morning, waking up early, and it was like therapeutic in a way for me to like sit in the quiet and have some coffee and do this. You know, it was like whatever, 1,000, 1,100 pieces, something, built this VW bus. Anyways, my son is obsessed with them.
That's
like,
cool.
Loves them. And so it's really cool for me. So we build them together. We did the Duplo for the young kids, you know, with the bigger blocks, and we build castles, and we, you know, we have a couple sets, but we end up just building random stuff. You know what I mean? And then he's really good at the 4 and up Lego sets, which are like, they're kind of bigger pieces, but they're just a little bit more tangible for the little ones. They don't have as many like tiny little things. I say all that to say, the one thing that my kid wanted for Christmas, man, was I told you he loves Halloween.
Yeah.
So he loves the movie, oddly enough, for whatever reason. He's just like obsessed with it. Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh,
and
sure.
and a lot of it is, it's the music.
Yeah. Danny Elfman, man.
Yes, man. It's the score, and it's a strange movie.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it's the music that holds the whole thing together. And so there was a special edition Lego set that came out that was Nightmare Before Christmas, and so it's actually sitting over here on the piano.
Cool.
We're slowly building it. It's so big, and it will take us probably 6 months to do it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. But we love to do, and honestly, we play a lot of music together.
That's sweet.
He'll like, he's got a bunch of little guitars. He'll come down and play my drums. Like, you know, he loves to play piano, like all those things that he's just super into. And he has like some really cool Montessori toys as well that are like like certain switches engage lights, or like you plug this in, it turns this on, and he loves those types of things too. And those are a lot of fun to you know, teach him. And so yeah, man, I mean, but Legos for sure is the answer.
That's really cool that he has enough focus to actually build them. Because it's like, whenever you realize that your kid has the focus to actually do it, then you're like, oh, this could be hours of entertainment.
100%. And I will say that there are certain times where
yeah.
And it's all just about like, oh, you do it, you know, which I'm like, okay, go, yeah, I'll do it. Sweet.
Yeah.
But he just wants it to be built like for him.
Yeah.
But there's a lesson, I guess, to teach them to go like, okay, let's sit down and let's like be diligent about this and be smart and like put this together, and it'll take us some time, but we'll get there. And it's been pretty cool. So it's like, we did a Spider-Man. He loves Spider-Man. And we did like a Spider-Man one that he loved. And then he got like one of my sisters got him like a little Spider-Man car that's tiny, but it's like one of those, it's perfect for it. And he just loves the figurines too. The easy figurines that have the legs and the body and the head, you know, he just like loves those guys. But that's been pretty cool, man, because again, I didn't really grow up playing a ton of Legos. And so it's been pretty cool to see him like be into that.
That's cool. I feel like my kids will randomly have modes in which like they're more destructive and they just want to tear down whatever you're building. And that's where magnet tiles are like the best invention ever. Because a Lego set, I'm like, no, I'm actually trying to build something here. You have to stop. But magnet tiles, I'm like, screw it. Destroy the whole thing. I don't care.
And dude, my son, that's my kid, dude. Same deal. We play with those a lot as well. Yeah. And he does the same thing, dude. We build big towers and it's like bang, you know, with the elbow or the leg, or the kick or the head or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. It's all, dude, that's, you know, I feel like that's every household with a little boy. That's
pretty much
100%.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, actually, growing up, I had like big blocks that, you know, honestly are, when you think about it, they don't like put away well. They don't like, you know, like store well. They're big and annoying. But I was really into like play animals, and so I would build like zoos with these and they would have like, okay, cool. Here are the lions. Here are the zebras, and here are the elephants. And so when we go home to visit my family, my mom, of course,
still
being
has
sentimental,
them?
she still has them. Yeah, man. And so he has like a little toy room for all the kids.
That's cool.
To play in, and so she has them set up in there, and so we do that. And a lot of those animals that I had as a kid are also still there. So that's pretty cool. So we do that when we're in Kentucky too.
That's
it's kind
awesome.
of a dedicated, So that's cool. That's a lot of fun.
Nice. And then final question. What's a moment of your kid's life you're most excited to be a part of?
Man, I am so excited to see, where life will take him, what he's, I think everyone always says, like, is he going to play music? Because I'm telling you, he loves music.
Cool.
And I would never be the parent, because my parents didn't do it to me. My dad's a musician, and he didn't do it to me. He didn't push me to do it. Because I was big into sports, and then when I went into high school, I had to make a decision what I wanted to do. So I'll be really interested to see if he takes to that, because he's around it constantly. It is his life.
Yeah.
And all the people that are around me are all musicians, and music is happening constantly. I'm always listening, whether I'm learning or listening to mixes or whatever. I mean, you get it.
Yeah.
And so I'll be really excited to see that. I will say this. I think what I am most excited about, at least in our distant future, is to see him be a big brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I say that because my youngest sister just had twins in October, and to see how he was with them was so special.
Yeah.
And I think, it made my wife and I go, oh my gosh, this is going to be the best thing ever.
That's so cool.
And so he's just like all about it. He wanted to hold him. He wanted to feed him. He wanted to, and just to see him now, how he is it's special. So I am definitely, cause I know it's going to change his life in a lot of ways, for the better, but definitely he'll be like, hey man, what's going on here?
What about me?
Yeah. I didn't sign up for this. But I think that's going to be really special.
That's cool. It will be.
Yeah.
It changes everything, and it's cool. And it just it opens up so many doors of, like, it seems like I'm similar. I'm looking daily how to teach my kids, like, life lessons about how life works to some extent. And, like, that's what your future looks like, is your son will be like, what's this? And you're like, oh, actually, I get to explain to you what your younger brother is like. Here we go, man. And it's just a privilege, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%, man.
Yep. The other way we end our episodes is just self-promotion. So, like, if you want to promote, like, your Instagram, if you want to follow you or anything like that, like, what you got going on, you're about to go on tour, anything you want to promote about yourself, basically.
Yeah, man. You can follow my Instagram. It's at Caleb_Crosby. If you like, honestly, a lot of my posts are about my son, pretty much. But a lot of drums too.
Yeah.
I'm about to go out on tour with Kelsea Ballerini. We start next week, and so I think there's like 36 shows across the U.S.
Dang.
So so come see us out on the road. They're all arenas all around everywhere. So that's going to be great. We just finished a week of rehearsals, and the show's killer. So
cool.
It's going to be awesome. So if we're in your city, come there. And man, I mean, I think that's it for now.
Yeah. Sweet. That's cool.
Yeah. And I appreciate you having me on, and great chat. And I know we could do this for a long time.
We could. It's very
dad stuff and chat life.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's very lucky. Thanks for your willingness to do it. Thanks for wanting to do it.
Sounds good, brother.
Perfect.
Have a great night. All right.
Thanks, Caleb.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Yep.
See you, man.
Thank you for listening to the episode.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram at the Imperfect Dads Podcast.
And make sure to subscribe and rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to us.
The music is provided by the Wildfeathers.
And all episodes are produced and edited by me.
Make sure to tune in Mondays for new episodes.